Alright, it's just another Madonna Death Day prediction, okay? Prediction date is tomorrow, the 13th of April, okay? And now I'm going to go into why I'm looking at this date again. You know, this is all very light guesswork, if you like. I've I've probably shown you some of this stuff. Actually, I know I've shown a lot of this stuff that I'm going to be showing you on considering other dates. So, or inferring other dates, if you like. And I'm going to show you it now, inferring this date. Okay. So, um, firstly, Why am I thinking Madonna's going to croak it? Because I think there's a big event coming up where I believe something big will happen at the Hoover Dam, and the the story that is going on there, the metaphor that reality is trying to relay to us there, is about the collapse of the Matrix. Is about renewing, um, not renewing our vows with the Matrix. It's about man becoming free again, okay, from those bonds. And in order to do that, that thing has to disappear. Man has to go through a rebirth. The Matrix has to go through a rebirth. So everything can be reset and we can start over afresh. Okay? Because there's a point at which the corruption and the greed and everything gets so bad that there just doesn't appear to be like um, there doesn't seem to be a way to reset that thing without just completely annihilating the whole thing. I don't know. It just, I mean, it's what I would call cold turkey. Okay, that's the best way to describe it. Anyway, Madonna, good old Madonna. This date. Let's have a look. I'm going to show you something now. I'm going back to the dartboard. Okay, this is something that I've used, kind of looked at in decodes before. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the dartboard. But one of the interesting things is Madonna's birthday does show up, because these numbers could be anywhere random on here, I guess, at some point in time. Somebody decided where they were all going to go. But it is interesting that Madonna's birthday shows up as a group of numbers on the dartboard, okay? And what's even more interesting is what's opposite those that birthday there of the 16th of August, which is the numbers of pi, 314, 314. And pi has a heavy, heavy encoding. It's encoded on the dollar bill. It's encoded with the Hoover Dam. It's in Back to the Future where that 911 scene is with when Marty goes back and the flames go on the wire going across the street and the two flaming trails as well. Not only is that a 911 in that scene, there's also an 811 in that scene, and there's also pi is in that scene. Okay, the symbol for pi. Okay, you know it, the two little funny legs with the top bit going across. This thing, come on. Okay, and that's what we end up with in the street with the two flaming trails. Okay, so this is the dam as well. Okay, this is the Hoover Dam, right? So, and again, if I just spell out dam for new people, when we apply some gematria to this, okay, 4 1 1 3. Okay, so you can see how that connects to this, right? So why tomorrow? Well, just because those numbers fit for tomorrow, basically, just because 4 and 13 is tomorrow's date. I mean, I could have quite easily gone on about the 14th of March, or we could have looked at the again, the 314th day of the year, if, for instance, you know. But that's not, you know, I'm just picking out this day uh, because there is one other interesting number jump with that as well, okay, which ties to this, okay. So what we also have going on here is this set of numbers up here. So to change subject real quick, this set of numbers up here, it's not really change subject, but is, I believe, a condensed version of 1225, which is Christmas, okay. Now, this is, of course, this is going to be very important with respect to Madonna, because of course Madonna is, I choose my words carefully here, she, at one point she, or at some point she embodies the idea, I don't know if it embodies the idea of the Virgin Mary, but there is that connection to the Virgin Mary, to the mother of Christ, okay. And I believe earlier on in her career that's where she was at, and then what happened is we saw a rapid corruption of that character to what we have now, which is the old hag, okay. And I mean, I think most people can follow that timeline quite logically, and go look at some of her early stuff and then look at the later stuff, and you can see, you know, the progression. So this is interesting that we've got that we've got this date tying back to this date, and we've got the important thing here is, again, is this cross, you know, we got the cross here, okay. And so that is super important. The other thing to note is this number right here down the bottom. Let's go look at her gematria, and look again, this number ties in with this number as well, this 317. And again, what numbers do we have repeated down the bottom of the cross here? The 215, the 512, okay. So again, 512, which I showed you in that last decode with the, you know, it's at the far end of the table, it's diamond number 7, okay. And this is the, could be potentially the 12th of May, okay, which again is important because our target date for the Hoover Dam, which is May the 9th, the 5-9, okay. Why this is important is this is a 4-day, this is 4 days here, from this day to this day, 4 days of rebirth, okay. Oh dear, let's just put rebirth, okay, which ties in with Lazarus, okay. And again, you can also see at the top here that that 9 is tying in with the 129, or the 5-9 here as well, okay. So a lot of scribble on there, but bear all that in mind, because, you know, bear these numbers in mind, the importance of these numbers here now as we go through to and again, one other little thing I'll say is this 187 that comes across a very, again, it's tight on this, you know, it's tight here, okay. And I've got some other numbers that will connect back to this 187 date as well, which is, again, that is 129, okay. And I'll show you that here in a second, in the chart of Lorraine. So it, you know, you know, there's some close, what do I want to go to? There's some close stuff in here. Let's go to the chart of Lorraine real quick, and why did I just do that? Come on. I'll show you some stuff in here that connects to it, okay? And then maybe we'll go back and we'll look at her gematria. So a few interesting things. In fact, it might pay to look at the gematria right now and just memorize it. Hang on. Okay, 6226. Well, that's easy. Okay, we can compare that with some other 62s and 26s. But I'm not going to do that in this video. You can put those in the comments for me. the one that springs to mind is obviously Queenie and God. Um, but the 127 here, remember that was that bottom part of the dartboard there with the 137 attached to it, and here's the 37. Okay, so when we go back to the chart of Lorraine now and double reference back to that, I want to show you why this is so important. So firstly, the 413 number. Okay, 413 right here. Okay, and here's our 59. Okay, which is pretty important. What I think's interesting is if you look, there is a Madonna birthday numbers are in here in several different spots, but the one I think is pretty interesting is this one here. Okay, and you have to do a bit of inversion, a rotation to get to this number here. And of course I've got an excessive one. I've got one extra one in here which has to be sort of condensed out, I guess. So but there we go right there. If we read that upside down, that's 816 if we were to rotate that around. I like that it ties in with this 5 with the 59 here. Okay. What's interesting as well is it ties in with the 58 as well, which you've probably seen a lot of lately. And I think that's a reference to the eve, the day of. I don't know. It's just interesting. I'm not really sure what to say about it really. But it seems to be showing up a lot. Some other interesting things here with these pi numbers. If we look at the numbers that come after the actual day as well, we've got the 4, 2, and the 23. I mean, we could, if we look at it like this, if we just forget that 2 there for a second, we've got the same numbers again. I mean, I know I've got to fudge it a little bit and get rid of that 2 there, but the 23 is super important anyway because it's in this, it's in these 2 columns that are right above the 5, 9. Okay, but I'm just saying the 1, 4, 3 is repeated again here. So this kind of idea, kind of mirroring again on each side of this thing, because this is what's important about the idea of the dam is it is the at where the Vesica Pisces would be, right? You can imagine the dam as the womb, and we're stuck in it. The Vesica Pisces is the gate that's got to be opened, okay, so that we can see to the other side of reality, which is going to be the rebirth ritual. But again, that seeing to the other side is seeing the mirror of the physical and the metaphysical. Okay, is being able to balance both of those two things. I know I sound like a broken record when I go on about this stuff, but anyway, again with this 11 and the 9 and the 8, again, Queenie's death date. Okay, we've got it right here. Okay, Queen Elizabeth II, that is. Okay, so that's interesting. And again, that 713 at the bottom of the dartboard that tied into the 712 or 217 or whatever way around that was. Again, that number is right here, and you could extend out a little bit here as well and incorporate that 2 there. And when you start getting numbers that are surrounding the target number right here, that it just gets interesting, doesn't it? I think. What else did I want to say about numbers here? I wanted to show you one other thing. Another important thing about the numbers of pi, the 314 or the 413, is this set of numbers that is at the beginning of the whole table. Okay, which is actually ends up being a cross. I would actually draw right over the top of them, but you're going to lose the actual. But it's the 134 here and the 134, and this is, I think, the only place in the table that really does this. where you have an actual cross formed, you know, a proper um, cross formed with the numbers. Okay, I mean, I think you can see that. Okay, again, what is important about this is you know, the proximity to this thing here. Okay, you know, the incorporation of pi here, and it's the same numbers within the cross. Okay, it's the idea of this thing coming back into balance. So the 314 is obviously super important. I just felt like that was just worth a mention, you know, just pointing that out again, that this thing is right here. And again, you know, as with the Queen's thing on the dartboard, again, something's got to come out from between these legs, and be reborn, if you like, from between the two legs. So it's interesting that you could be shooting out this way for this. Just interesting. What else did I want to? There was something else I wanted to mention here. Oh, I wanted to mention about her the 62. Is obviously again a rotation of, you could rotate this here and get, and in fact I'm thinking this goes to a 26, or if you rotate that 26 it goes to a 92. Okay, so again, and a 92 is a 29, which again, this number here is our perfect balance number of these two numbers combined in such a way that we still retain the individual natures of each side of these numbers, if you like. Each individual number retains its identity, but it's combined in a single format. Okay, and again, 92, 26, 62, 59. Okay, these are all important, and this 59 that we've got here, where we had a birthday coming across here, this 187. Let me get rid of some of this. This is ridiculous. Hang on. So this 59 here, our target date, and of course we had our birthday right here. Okay, and if we look at another date that ties into a birthday there, which is the 187. Okay, that's our 7,810 day jump from 9/11. That takes us to 129. Okay, that's why I was getting all excited around that January date for Madonna, of January the 29th, because I felt like that could have been a strong possibility for the Hoover Dam thing to happen. Okay, and it didn't, but that's why I was getting all kind of, oh, I'll do a video on, I did about, I don't know how many videos on Madonna around that time, but a whole bunch. And it was because I was kind of expecting something to happen to the Hoover Dam, because, you know, 187, of course, the 187, the murder, death, kill, obviously, that's how I was connecting that. But again, we've got that in close proximity to our cross line in the dartboard, connecting with Madonna, and also Sean Penn. That's his birthday, and that's the first husband. I can't be able to write it, but Sean Penn. Okay, Penn. So it is interesting that we have that tie in there as well. What else did I want to say? But you know, when we do the next jump here for new people, we do that 187 jump, okay, which is 7,810 days. Well, we can do the other jump that's on the other half of her birthday here, which is 7,910 days. Okay, we're taking one of those and putting a 0 between the 11 here. That's obviously, again, there's a reason for doing that. I'm not going into it right now. But it's interesting, her birthday ties to these two jumps, and of course that jump takes us to the 129th day of the year. So we've got that 129 reference again, and that day is 5/9. So it's just interesting that her birthday kind of, I mean, I know you have to fudge it, you have to make that into a 1 and you have to rotate this 6, okay? I mean the 9 to a 6. But it is interesting, you know, especially as it has that tie-in with Sean Penn there. What else do I want to say? I think I mentioned that, didn't I, with the, yeah, I mentioned that with the 713. I think I pretty much mentioned everything. Oh, that's interesting as well with the 37 again. Obviously, it's a good reference back up to 29. Obviously, Madonna M, which is also for the Virgin Mary as well. The 13, that's also another good tie-in. And we have that 37 right here as well. So again, we're referencing back along this row here, coming down here. Just interesting, you know. Again, with the 37, I'll pick out a 37 again here and here, 37, and we've got these numbers in between here, which one of them is the 5. I know that's kind of like, oh, it gets a little bit more abstract, some of these things, but it's just, I'll just mention it because it sticks out to me. Anything else to mention? I don't think so. I think we did all the gematria. I want to do a couple of number jumps now, okay, and then we'll just call it quits because otherwise this will be way too long. It only really need to be a 5-minute video. So the first thing is I've got the 13th of April in, okay, and I've done the 125 jump. And again, if you remember the dartboard, hang on a minute, I've got another picture of the dartboard here, it's easy to get to. Remember, the 125 right here was on our cross and connected to the 5/9 as well, okay? So this 125 of Christmas, when we do it, okay, in minus we're going to 12/9. Interesting, because 12/9 is 129, and if we go the other way with it, 125, it takes us back to Madonna's birthday. Okay, so that is pretty interesting. And I put one more. I'm going to do one more interesting number jump, and then we'll call it quits. You can put a whole bunch. You can do some other ones, and they go to interesting days. But I just wanted to do this one, okay, because I thought this was really interesting, and I've brought this number up so many times with Madonna. 10/22. Okay, the 22nd of October is a date that I've mentioned several times with Madonna, and I've mentioned it with other things as well. But the reason why this date is so important is there's that train crash. Okay, the 22nd of October. Okay, in I think it's Paris, or somewhere in France anyway, and the image is actually, do I have it up here? No, I don't. So we won't worry about it. But the image is a steam train coming out of a building and crashing down to the ground, a bit like in Back to the Future, where the steam train goes off the edge of the cliff. Okay. And what we also have in Back to the Future is another reference to a train in Who's That Girl, the film. Madonna does a kind of a leap in front of that train, in front of the blue and the yellow train, the same kind of train that is in Back to the Future that smashes up the DeLorean. Okay, and she does that. It does a leap in front of it in the Rolls Royce. Okay, which of course is temple symbolism as of its own anyway. But we have that link with the trains, okay? And so I know I'm talking through this, and I probably should be showing you pictures, but 1022, that is the date of the steam train thing, okay? And again, I've mentioned that the steam train in Back to the Future is a reference to that big tank of water that is going to explode, okay? And the train itself has the black symbolism of the black pearl, and so it's just interesting, this 1022 date, okay? It's shown up so many times, and of course 1022, if we go from, if we just look at 10 by itself, 9:59 takes us up to 10, okay? And 22 in the 24-hour clock, of course, is 10 o'clock. And I guess you could do 21:59, so you'd have both sets of numbers. You'd have your 129, sorry, and your 59, those two sets of numbers in there as a number before the 2200 hour. Oh, hopefully you're following along with this. Just nuts. Anyway, I thought, well, I'm going to put that in there. For whatever reason, I decided I was going to put it in there just because it's been showing up so much. And lo and behold, 1022 takes us to January the 29th. And I'm thinking, oh, that's pretty mental. I wonder where, if you go backwards, where it takes you. Take it backwards, 25th of June. I'm like, oh, bloody hell, that's blooming Michael Jackson. You know, and we have a ton of, obviously there's a ton of references to Michael Jackson in Back to the Future. But again, 25th of June for his death date, okay? And I just thought it was interesting because we've got the King of Pop here, and we've got the, oh, I got her up here, get rid of this, and we've got the Queen of Pop here. So the King and Queen of Pop separated by the number 10, okay, essentially 1022. I'm going to leave it there for this decode. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to talk about. I know it's probably way longer than it needed to be, but again, I think I covered everything in here. The only thing I didn't mention was, again, the 7 diamonds, which was this day here, the 5/12 date. Did I mention that? I think I mentioned it on the actual dartboard itself, but I wanted to show you where it was in the table. Again, this is 213, a 213 reference here. So okay, so you can see that 213 and 213, how that joins across there. So that's super important as well. One other thing, I can't remember what it was now, but where did I have that? This number was coming up as well. Just while I'm, no, it wasn't there. I can't remember what it was. I think it was September the 19th. Yeah, that was what it was. Okay, September the 19th. So the same day that the Queen was buried, which is that 199 reference. Again, that also ties back to a 187 reference as well, but we have to go into different days of the year for that. But yeah, that 199 is the 103rd day of the year, and if we go over here again, the 103rd day of the year, okay, which is our April the 13th day, okay. So that's what I was thinking of there with the 199. And I tell you again, the 13th, 103, and again, in our 7 diamonds thing, 13 was our our N diamond. Okay, and one other interesting thing with the 13 is when we draw in the Great Scott, the cross in here where we did the number jump. Okay, when we come back this way, okay, well, I've kind of gone over it a bit there, but what I believe we've got going on here on each side of this is we've got kind of the Father over here, the voyage back to the Father, and again something to do with the Virgin Mary on this side. So we have the 13 and the 33, which is the sun and moon imbalance, or Jesus coming, you know, on the cross, dying and resurrected at the age of 33, which is again is about being in balance, and coming out of the matrix. Again, the 13 shows up. The 13's heavy in here, okay, and it's opposite this final sort of the 23 and the 53, which is to do with getting back to, I know that's super scribbled on there, but that's to do with getting back to God. Okay, so that is pretty important as well, the 13 references and the letter M. Okay, I'm calling it quits. Hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll catch you on the next one. Alright, thanks, bye.